go for refuge until enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my calculations, practices, experience of God, may I become Buddha, the benefit of peace. I go for refuge until enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my calculations, practices, experience of God, may I become Buddha, the benefit of peace. I go for refuge until enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my calculations, practices, experience of God, may I become Buddha, the benefit of peace. Om Ye Karma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Desham Tathagato Yavadat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vadi Mahashamanaye Swaha. Om Ye Karma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Desham Tathagato Yavadat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vadi Mahashamanaye Swaha. Om Ye Karma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Desham Tathagato Yavadat Desham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vadi Mahashamanaye Swaha. Of non-arousing causes, the cessation of the body is already taught by the grace here. Okay, we are on, which page is that? 119. Okay, page 119. So the debate between the two groups, the advocates of objective existence and the advocates of emptiness of objective existence. And the background that we need to know is that the advocates of objective existence who accepts objective existence were the and South Atlantic School and the Post-Mantra and other schools, but then here primarily Vaibhashika and South Atlantic. So the advocates for the advocates of objective existence, when they say existence, for them existence equals objective existence. So the problem is when they accept existence, they accept objective existence. If somebody rejects objective existence, they see them as rejecting existence. Okay. So when the Arnigardana said that nothing exists objectively, in the ears is like Arnigardana saying that nothing exists at all, which means ceasing and arising, it will exist. So ceasing and arising is extremely important phenomenon. In fact, in your life, every morning you get up, which means the new self meaning a self, which is one day older. Right? You agree? One day older with respect to the self which was yesterday. So that arises, and one day older self ceases. No, one day younger self ceases, and one day older self arises. Ceasing and rising, ceasing and rising. This is what governs the whole universe. Your life, your community, on the global level, family level, everywhere. And this is what happens. So, and in the verse, I think page 4. I'll again from page 4. page 4 in his book, the place. In dependent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising. Again, though, no ceasing, no arising. And then the Buddha, in the sutras, you find the very often times mentioning about the ceasing and arising. Okay, so this is so important. It's not just randomly, ceasing and arising. These were just activities. It's not just random pick up. These are two things which govern the whole universe. Your activities, your life, your happiness, your sadness, and your career, shattering your career, starting startups, and then, and entering into the illusion of what? WhatsApp, Facebook, Reel, and so forth, and coming out, disillusion. Wow, I'm tired of this, this is so deceptive. And all these things fall under the category of arising, ceasing, arising, ceasing. So when the arising, ceasing is missing, cause and effect is missing. When the cause and effect is missing, the first level of dependent origination is missing. First level of dependent origination marks the 12 links of dependent origination. How the whole universe, how the beings take birth in samsara, and how the beings come out of samsara. The Four Noble Truths, you can account for all these if you cannot account for the ceasing and arising of phenomena. So, in our years of the Vaibhashikans of Tantrika, when Aranyakārsana said nothing truly exists, nothing exists objectively, for them nothing exists, which means no arising and ceasing. If no arising and ceasing, then no cause and effect. If no cause and effect, then no Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths is on the basis of the two sets of cause and effect. Two sets of cause and effect. What's the first set of cause and effect? Hey.
Dependent
origination. Four Noble Truths, it is constituted of two sets of cause and effect. Cause, effect, two sets meaning cause, effect. How many are there? Four. These are the Four Noble Truths. You're getting it? These Four Noble Truths are nothing but constituted of two sets of cause and effect. So what is the first set of cause and effect in the context of Four Noble Truths?
Truth is the cause.
The second noble truth is the cause. First noble truth is the effect.
Yes. So the first truth of suffering is the result, and the second one, truth of cause of suffering, is the cause and effect. So first and second, these two are related to samsara. You're getting it? Suffering is samsara, and cause of suffering is also samsara. So the first two noble truths are related to samsara. And number 3 and number 4. What is number 3? Okay. The second set of cause and effect, anyone? Listen. Second set of cause and effect in the context of Four Noble Truths. Come, Sujala.
Truth of breath leading to cessation is the cause and effect.
Truth of the cessation is the result. Okay, so what Kama Sujala is saying is that the second set of cause and effect is related to nirvana, or related to liberation from samsara, liberation. Truth number 3, which is the truth of cessation of suffering, that is the result. And the number 4, so the cause of suffering, that is the cause and effect. Okay, but a technical clarification is required here. Technical meaning that we have to know the saying. What precisely is the case? We have to know, while we know the main concept, we also should know the technicalities. And these technicalities, at times, you may feel that, there are so many nuances, I cannot know this. In a way, we are very fortunate. We are all learning these nuances within such a short span of time. Saying, what is the truth number 3 of the Four Noble Truths? Truth of cessation of suffering. Truth of cessation of suffering. Truth of cessation of suffering means truth of the absence of suffering. Cessation means ceased, stop, absence of suffering. Absence of suffering is permanent or impermanent? Permanent, impermanent, reason. It's impermanent presence. It's impermanent. Truth of cessation suffering is impermanent presence. Truth of cessation suffering is permanent presence. Oh, you good. And those of us who are new, you may be confused. How is permanent? And everybody is so confident, right? How is permanent? Okay, anybody who likes to explain how is permanent? Presence? Okay, those of us, I'm asking this question not for me. I'm asking this question on behalf of the newcomers. You're getting it? So newcomers, you should pay attention. Okay, now it's asking, it's not for us, it's for the people. For you, I'm asking this question to others. Anybody who likes to explain, how is the truth of cessation suffering permanent? Absence of suffering permanent, tell me. Anyone? Raise hands. How many hands? One hand here, one hand here, yes.
Okay, there's a concept we talked about earlier that I don't remember, but if you can negate negative emotions and not positive ones, and so we can negate suffering.
We negate suffering. Negation of suffering, is that permanent or impermanent? How?
Because why would we want suffering? Does that make sense?
Okay.
Do you get what I'm saying? Because there's the other concept, do those connect?
Say for example, let's say the suffering itself. Is permanent or impermanent?
Suffering itself is impermanent.
It's not permanent.
No.
What do you want it?
Why?
You
Yeah.
said it. Well, it is permanent because why do you want suffering? I'm saying the same thing to you. It should be permanent because why do you want suffering?
You don't want suffering.
I don't want suffering.
And I don't want suffering.
So suffering is not permanent.
And none of us want suffering for anyone.
So therefore, if you don't want it, so therefore it should be permanent, and suffering should be permanent.
I want to agree, but I totally lost.
Okay, it doesn't matter. Anyone else? More hands? I'm looking for more hands. Okay, here.
It is nirvana.
Huh?
It is nirvana, the truth of cessation of sufferings is
If it is nirvana, why should it be permanent?
that is permanent.
Why should that be permanent? Are you a little better now?
Because we have eradicated
A little better now?
we have eradicated the cause of suffering. So there are no causes and conditions that can create that.
So the mind which attained the cessation, is that permanent?
No.
Because it's forever like this. It should be permanent.
But it has eradicated the cause of suffering.
If you say that cause of suffering, why should that be permanent?
Because it cannot occur again. The causes and conditions cannot be created. So it's the dependent
The cessation of suffering,
Yes.
is that permanent or permanent?
Permanent.
Why?
Because it's the absence of,
Why if something is absent, it should be permanent?
because it cannot come into existence again.
Is that right? I think
Because the suffering is advantageous.
Suffering is advantageous. Yes. So what?
So it can be removed.
Say it can be removed, yes. But the absence of suffering is that permanent. Why?
Because once, like you said, the causes for the suffering are removed, the suffering is removed.
Then the pure mind, is that permanent?
You know.
Pure mind is also permanent.
it's permanent. The pure mind? No. The pure mind isn't permanent.
Pure mind, once the cause of the suffering is removed, the pure mind forever remains.
Yeah,
Pure,
technically.
pure mind lasts forever.
Last paragraph. Once the cause of suffering is removed, then the pure mind remains forever. It should be permanent.
No,
Why not?
there's a distinction. It's eternal. The continuum is there, but it's not
No,
permanent.
I'm not giving my reasons. I'm simply using your reason to prove that if the pure mind should be permanent. What he says is that the cessation suffering is permanent because the cause of the suffering is removed, and the cessation suffering is forever. So likewise, once the cause of suffering is removed, then the pure mind is forever. So even the pure mind should be also permanent. Okay, the gentleman behind the Buddha. Your name?
Yaniv. Yaniv.
Yelev, yes.
If I remember right, when we said that permanent things are things that are not conditioned by time, like by time parts and material. And cessation of suffering is not conditioned by both of them. Because
Is it not conditioned by the time?
no,
Because it lasts forever. Lasts forever is time.
but it's not conditioned. Like
Why
it's
not?
mm,
Okay. Yeah, you will say?
Okay, I'll try to say what I think. So the truth of cessation of suffering is negating suffering, which is emptiness, and emptiness is not composite, which means that it's permanent.
Cessation of suffering is to be understood in the context of emptiness.
Yes.
And emptiness is a non-composite phenomenon. Therefore, it cannot be
Impermanent.
because it is not impermanent, it should be permanent. That's interesting. So the cessation of suffering is to be understood in the context of emptiness. How?
Because it's negating suffering.
Say, for example, I don't have a car. Right? When I was in Singapore, my friends, they were doing a little bit of fundraising for Tibet House car. And during my teaching, my friend stood up and said that anybody who likes to donate for Tibet House, donate for Geshe Dorji's car. I said, it's not Geshe Dorji's car, it's Tibet's car. I have no car. Right? I have no car. So I'm empty of being a car. So is that emptiness? It's not emptiness. So that when you are freed from suffering, empty of suffering, is that emptiness? No. So how do you relate that with emptiness? Oh yeah, yes.
Geshe, for ordinary people, impermanent means there's something substance to be undergoing change. And when we say absence of, say, here, when we have absence of suffering, like here we are negating something, absence of objective existence of the suffering. I mean to say there's no any substance to undergo change, so that's why it's permanent.
Whatever you understand, don't add too much. If you add too much, it dilute things. You getting it? So what you started so well, and then you start to add more. So we're talking about how the cessation suffering is permanent. This is my question. You started so well. So the impermanent should be there should be some substance. Absence or some kind of substance. And then you start to jump to absence or objective existence.
So I just want to say
What, say it again?
So I mean to say impermanent, there should be substance to undergo change. But when we say absence of anything, suffering, so there is no substance to undergo change. So that
there's no substance to identify this. This is known as the absence of suffering. There's no substance there. Because there is no substance there, there's no substance to undergo change. It exists, but without change, it's not as they say, it is not changing. There's no substance to undergo change. Because of which it's not impermanent. It exists, not impermanent, it should be permanent. Good. Angela?
So truth of cessation, which is an analytical cessation, which means the absence of suffering. In this case, it's permanent because of what you said actually, but it's permanent because the absence, it's it's not produced. It's a mere negation.
So how it is not produced?
I think, because when you're asking her about how is mind permanent, the pure mind, it's like, the knowledge
Don't digress. How is the absence of suffering, they not permanent? And how is it, the how is not produced?
Absence of suffering is not produced because there is no cause to produce.
How do you know that there's no cause?
Because it's eradicated the cause of suffering.
Number 4. Number 4, the truth of the partly dissociation is the cause of the absence of suffering.
But the truth of cessation means the cause of suffering is eradicated, which is afflictions and contaminant karma. And if there is no more cause to produce suffering, then there is no production.
No. Suffering is started, that's fine. There's no suffering there. But how the absence of suffering, we're not talking about that suffering is not produced anymore. Because the causes start, suffering is not produced. But the absence of suffering can be produced. Anyone?
Geshe, what I understood is, from the first scene, it is all composite phenomena as impermanent. And absence of suffering is non-composite. That's why it's permanent.
Okay, that's a very good presentation. The following question is, how the absence of suffering is not composite?
Because composite phenomena consist of material and temporal particles, as you have mentioned.
So how is it not made of temporal parts? Anyone? Okay, Nicola. You want to give the answer or not? Give the answer, not give the answer.
Oh, you didn't give the answer.
You want to give the answer?
Any absence of something is a permanent phenomenon.
How?
As Levin was saying, there is no substance to undergo change.
How do you know that it doesn't exist? Absence. Absence of suffering. How do you say that it doesn't have substance? Okay, the internal
So usually you give the example of the clock in your hand, and then you remove the clock and you ask what is there in my hand. So absence of clock is in your hand. So anything which is absent of
Something.
anything is a permanent phenomena because it does not have any substance or
How do you know it doesn't have substance? Why as absence should not have substance?
Absence would not be absence.
Huh?
If it would have substance, then it would not be absence.
No. So let's say that this flower is absent of chocolate. This flower is absent of chocolate. There's substance there. There's substance there. This is the flower is the substance, right?
The chocolate's absence is there.
So the absence of chocolate. This is it. This one.
Yeah.
Is it substance?
Yeah.
Is it substance of chocolate? No. It's not absence of chocolate.
Absence of chocolate.
Wow. Please don't leave Thosamling unless you're able to say that yes, this is absence of chocolate, right? People may think that, what did you learn? Who taught you? And you say that, wow, we learned emptiness, we learned amazing, Geshe Dorji Damdul, this is amazing, right? And then people say, wow, what did you learn? That this is not absolute chocolate, right? This is not absolute chocolate, this is substance. Then you say, who is that Geshe Dorji Damdul, right? Okay. You said before? You have answered before?
This answer, no.
Yeah.
Well, when you apply ultimate analysis to absence of something, the closer you get to it, you still continue to find absence. So it doesn't matter how close you get, but you never...
So this is not a chocolate.
Yeah.
This is absolute chocolate.
Yeah.
This is ultimate analysis or conventional analysis?
This is conventional analysis.
It's a conventional analysis. So why you do have to test the ultimate analysis?
you go closer to.
Now, what I'm saying is that we're talking about the absence of suffering.
Yeah.
Absence of suffering, is it a conventional analysis? Is this the mind which sees this absence of suffering?
Yeah.
Is it conventional analysis, ultimate analysis?
Conventional analysis.
If it's conventional analysis, why are you picking up the ultimate analysis?
To find out if it has permanence, right?
No, it's the absence of
Yeah.
absence of suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Per se is permanent.
Yeah.
Per se. So who knows that it is permanent? Conventional analysis knows it, not ultimate analysis.
Okay.
So the question is, how is it permanent? Is the question. Gurmila.
Ishla, I'll try to understand this with my own ordinary understanding, with my own examples.
He's scared. Excuses to run away. Yes.
Like for example, I'm here in this hall, assembly hall. Here at this same position.
Yes.
I can, after the session, I leave for a tea.
Yes.
And then I can come back and sit somewhere else. But this particular coordinate,
Yes.
any
Yes.
degree will remain here forever. Whoever comes here, this is the absence of myself, the first moment.
So
this is
so
permanent.
whoever comes, this space remains forever.
Yeah.
So what remains forever, this is permanent. So we're saying
No, the absence of myself.
absence yourself.
Yeah, the absence of suffering is permanent.
Okay, that's the absence of yourself. Whoever comes is always there. Is what I'm saying?
I'm implying myself, not
No,
being
it
here.
doesn't matter. Let's apply to yourself. Then how is it permanent?
I moved somewhere
You
else.
move, you move. Absence remains.
Absence of myself
Remains.
remains.
So how is it permanent?
So that will remain forever.
Forever. If something remains forever, is that the meaning of permanence?
It won't, like, coordinates won't go on and change. Like,
No, that's not the point. If something lasts forever, is this your meaning of permanence?
does the space will remain.
Your mind, is it permanent? Your mind remains forever.
That's why it's a very ordinary.
Yambela.
There are two minds. One is samsaric mind and one is liberated mind. Samsaric mind has both the defilements, afflictive oscillations and the cognitive oscillations.
Yes.
And liberated mind does not have no. Liberated mind is devoid of cognitive and afflictive and cognitive oscillations.
Perfect.
So there is absence of this mind has the absence of afflictive and cognitive oscillations.
Yes.
And then to connect happiness, absence of no substance with change.
So the absence, how is it that it doesn't, how do you say it doesn't have substance? Don't quote that now. Okay, Ninjala. Okay, here.
This year I go with Ragula and Dr. Mirza that you have to have a substance. For example, this rosary, if this is in my hand, this is impermanent, and if I remove this, there's absence of rosary because there is no rosary. There is no substance, and I know that because I can't see it. There is nothing in my hand which can undergo change. The absence is still there. The absence of rosary and absence of everything in the world is in my hand because I can't see it.
So
it is permanent. There is nothing which is undergoing moment to moment change. So that's how. And I can see it with my eyes.
Okay, what Tinsbila said is what resonates with what the Hadran said, Ronazela said, and Yambela said, and others. That is actually a very good answer. Very good answer. In other words, what we said is that the same common people and you now, you and the common people who are not exposed to philosophy, they give two different answers, two opposite answers. Let's say that I keep the clock in my hand. What is there? Something is there. Then I remove it. I asked the people who are not exposed to philosophy at all, what is there? They will say nothing. Nothing is there. If I ask you, you will say that absence of clock is there. You getting it? Something is there. So you say something is there, and then the people who street people, they will say nothing is there. So these two are just opposite answers. And we see that experientially speaking, both are correct. How both are correct is that both of them, when they say nothing is there, when you say something is there, what they are referring to is different. For them, when they, nothing is there means that there's nothing as a substance is there. So this is the meaning of substance. So anything which exists, you say, absence of clock is there. So this is without substance, because that is disqualified to be existent by the common people. What is disqualified to be existent in common people is the indication that they do not have substance. So the absence of clock does not have substance. Because it doesn't have substance, what is change? Change is where this substance there, this substance is changing from one moment to the second to the third. When there's no substance there, there's no substance to undergo change. If there's no change, it is not impermanent. It exists, but not impermanent, it should be permanent. So permanent may not necessarily be something which lasts forever. You getting it? It can be as permanent phenomenon, can be as short as a split of a second. Sound of clap, the sound of clap, is it permanent, impermanent? Hey, louder, don't be scared. Impermanent. It's impermanent. This sound of clap is impermanent. But this sound of clap, how long is the duration? Split of a second. And this sound of clap, it has innumerable characteristics. This sound of clap is, okay, let's say characteristic. This sound of clap is impermanent. Impermanence is a characteristic. This sound of clap is existent. Existence of thing. This sound is a result of the two hands coming together. There are so many characteristics, one of which is this sound is absent of chocolate. Absent of being chocolate. It's also one of the characteristics. So this sound has so many characteristics. And what is the duration of these characteristics? The duration of these characteristics are same as the duration of the sound. Just the sound lasts for a split second. Everything which are the characteristics of this sound lasts that long. So, including the sound being absent of a chocolate, even that it lasts for a split of a second. And yet it does not have substance. So therefore, although the sound being absent of a chocolate, it lasts for just millisecond. It just lasts for millisecond, split of a second. Yet it is permanent. So permanent may not necessarily last forever. You getting it? So when we say, oh, this tree is permanent, this Mount Everest is permanent, which means this is the permanence, understanding permanence according to ordinary people. Ordinary people, permanent means something which lasts for long. Whereas for the experts, for the logicians, for the knowledgeable people, permanent means something which does not undergo change, which exists without the substance to undergo change. That is permanent. Okay, good. Good, I'm glad. So the most important thing is not just unilateral teaching, it's an interactive session, that your mind is also active. So then the real growth is taking place. Otherwise we can finish the work, the 3 chapters very easily, and you're not getting anything out of what is being shared. Okay, so now go back to the text. Page number? Page number? 119. Examination of the Four Noble Truths. So what it says, examination of the Four Noble Truths, is it talking about Four Noble Truths or is it talking about something else?
Emptiness of Four Noble Truths.
It's talking about whether or not the Four Noble Truths exist objectively, or in other words, we're talking about the emptiness, how the Four Noble Truths are empty of objective existence. So this is what we are. Or we're not talking about the Four Noble Truths in general. The opponents, what they say is that if all of this is empty, empty meaning empty of objective existence, for them, empty of objective existence equals, for them, emptiness of objective existence equals non-existent. Very good, non-existent. So they are saying that, you are saying that everything is empty of objective existence. You are saying nothing exists, everything non-existent. If you say this, then you have to say that ceasing and arising also do not exist. Neither what's arising nor ceasing exists. Then for you, it follows that the Four Noble Truths would not exist. How not? Because Four Noble Truths is within the domain of cause and effect. Within the domain of cause and how? First truth is result, and second truth is cause and effect. Third truth is result, and fourth truth is the cause and effect. You're getting it? If the Four Noble Truths should be understood in the concept of the cause and effect. But what I said is that there's one technicality that we need to learn. It's not difficult. One technicality that we need to learn. What I said is that the third truth is the result, and the fourth truth is the cause. The cessation of suffering happens by meditating on the path of cessation. So the truth cessation, because this is permanent, we said it's permanent. Because it's permanent, it is not a result. Cause, result, impermanent, produced, they're all synonymous. Cause, effect, or result, produced, functional phenomena, impermanent phenomena, they all are synonymous. Let me repeat it. Cause and effect is synonymous. Cause and effect is synonymous. What is cause to be effect? What is effect to be also cause? But your cause is not an effect. You're getting it? Cause and effect are contradictory with respect to one particular frame of reference. With respect to 2023, to the cause of 2023 and the effect of 2023, these two are not synonymous, these two are contradictory. But cause and effect in general, these two are synonymous. For example, so this flower, is it a cause? Yes. Tomorrow, this flower will become 1 day older. So 1 day older flower tomorrow, that's a result of this cause, this flower. So this flower is a cause with respect to the flower of tomorrow. Is this a result? Yes, it's a result with respect to the flower yesterday. You're getting it? This cause and effect both. But the cause and effect with respect to this object, the cause of this and the effect of this, these two are contradictory. So these distinctions we have to learn. Cause and effect in general, these two are synonymous. But the cause and effect with respect to one object, these two are always contradictory. You getting it? Okay, this is what we need to mind. So then for you, it follows that the Four Noble Truths would not exist. And then what we said is that truth of cessation is not effect because it is not impermanent phenomena. Impermanent phenomena and the impermanent phenomena, cause and effect, cause, effect, impermanent phenomena, the composite phenomena, reduced phenomena, functional phenomena, they are all synonymous. So because if it is not impermanent, it cannot be cause and effect. So the third noble truth is not effect. But we said that third noble truth is the effect of the fourth noble truth. So that is in a loose sense. You're getting it? In a loose sense, it's not really in a strict sense. In other words, that how many of you have suffering in his hands? How many of you have suffering in his hands? How many of you have no suffering in his hands? You all have suffering. Oh, there's no suffering. You don't know. So not knowing is also suffering. Okay, so let's say that we all have suffering. And by meditating on emptiness, the cause of suffering stops, self-grasping stops. Because of which the iceberg melts. Iceberg on which the suffering is stacked, iceberg melts. When iceberg melts, all what is stacked will all crumble. Your suffering crumbles. Your suffering stops. So, how come that all others they continue to suffer and you are not suffering? How come? Because of my because meaning I put an effort. I put effort in the wisdom of emptiness. So wisdom of emptiness is a cause which gave me to stop the suffering. You're getting it? So stopping the suffering is because the reason. So here instead of the cause, the reason why the suffering came to an end It's because of having exerted the antidote. You getting it? So it's not the cause and effect in technical sense, but it's cause and effect in the form of reasons and the outcome. So the truth cessation is the outcome, not the effect, is the outcome of the what? Of the effort that you put in the path leading to the cessation, the four truth. You're getting it? So these are the techniques. In a loose sense, we can say that the truth suffering is the result, truth cause suffering is the cause, and truth cessation is the result, truth path leading to cessation is the cause. In a loose sense, we can say like this. But if you meet with a real, very defined scholar and the Dhamma practitioner teachers, then you should know these nuances. Pretty good.
Ishla, did you differentiate then between reasons and outcomes?
No, reasons and the cause. So in a loose sense, the seed is the reason for the flower. Poisonous seed is the reason for the poisonous tree. And poisonous seed is the cause of the poisonous tree. In a loose sense, we see these two things as same. The reason, being the reason, and the cause as same. But logically speaking, in a strict logic, there's a little difference between the two. Being the reason and being the cause. There's a little difference there. Cause means precisely to do with the impermanent phenomena. For reasons, it may not necessarily be impermanent. Okay. Verse number 2. If the Four Noble Truths do not exist, then knowledge, abandonment, meditation, and actualization would not exist. Okay, we left it this way, the second part in the first session. Okay. So the Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths in the form of 12 recitations. What are the 12 recitations? This is what we will learn here very quickly. It's very important. Four Noble Truths taught by the Buddha in the form of 12 recitations. And these 12 repetitions or recitations, both are correct. 12 recitations or 12 repetitions. Devatuni, Depa. These 12 repetitions can be broken down into 3 sets. Four Noble Truths taught in 12 recitations, and these 12 recitations broken down into 3 sets. The first set is related to identification of Four Noble Truths. The first set is related to identification of Four Noble Truths. Second set is related to the practice associated with the Four Noble Truths. Second set of the teaching of Four Noble Truths is related to the practice related to the Four Noble Truths. Third set is related to the results that you achieve, the results that you attain by the practice of by the practice related to the Four Noble Truths. First one is identification, second one is practice, third one is the results of the practice. You getting it? 3 sets. So what are the 3 sets? First set, the Buddha taught. First set is very easy. Easy meaning, in terms of repeating what the Buddha said, is very easy. Second set requires more thought. First set, the Buddha taught, this is the truth of suffering. This is the truth of cause of suffering. This is the truth of the cessation of suffering. And this is the truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering. In other words, Buddha was helping us to identify what these 4 truths are. So this is the first set. On the first set of teaching on the Four Noble Truths pertain to identification of Four Noble Truths. Second set is what? Related to? Practices. So, for the second set the Buddha taught, truth of suffering is to be identified. Truth of cause of suffering is to be abandoned. Truth of cessation of suffering is to be actualized. And the truth of the path leading to cessation is to be meditated upon. It looks really easy for us. Very easy. I can remember it very easily. But if you don't note it down, if you are not being too precisely, meticulously remembering these points, later on they'll all get mixed up, and you may say that, or the truth of suffering is to be abandoned, truth of cause of suffering is to be identified. You mix up these things. So don't underestimate. You're getting it? In other words, you should not think that we are smart. You're getting, we should not think that we are. We should not think that we are too smart. I know this, so it's very easy, right? So, because those people who are so meticulous, over time, their knowledge will be accumulated and then they will really shine. Those people look at that, it's very easy. Yeah, to suffering, I remember, identified, to the cause of suffering, abandoned, to the cessation of suffering, actualized, to the meditation, the path, meditated upon. And later on you will get mixed up. At the moment, because I said it, it's very easy, it's not difficult. You're getting it? So this is where people who, who underestimate things, who take things very lightly, they never grow. People who take things very seriously and who are very meticulous with the order and so forth, these people will grow and shine eventually. Their knowledge will really grow. For example, I'm so impressed. One time, in one center, when I was teaching for about 5 days, I think on the second or third day, I asked one question. And there was one gentleman who was with the center for like 20 years. But he never learned these things very systematically. And then I asked a question, and he raised his hand. And of course, being a very senior member, I give a chance to him, and he gives the answer. And then I ask the same question again. Anybody else? One girl raises her. And the answer that she gave is so precise and systematic, and anybody can see that, wow, this is amazing. And I thought that this girl who gave the answer must be, with the center for so long. And then during my private meeting, the girl said that I've been coming for the center just for the last few months. But your answer is so good. How come? And she said it was the time we started the Nalanda Master's course. She said, I'm doing Nalanda Master's course. So where we learn systematically. Whereas this gentleman, he just, is like just, like the animals, they grazing the grass. Eat something here, eat something here, eat something here. There's no synchronicity here. And then later on, I told the gentleman, did you see the difference between the answer that you gave and the answer that girl gave? And he said, yes. And I said, what's the difference? He said that what the girl gave, the answer is so systematic and very clear. And one is like, the other people may not really understand what I'm saying. This is what he said. This is because you never went for systematic studies. You've been done for 20 years. This is the problem. When you go for systematic studies, 2, 3, 4 years is good enough. Then your knowledge will become so refined. And 6 years, very good. For example, those who did not master's course, batch 1, some of them, they're really, really, really good. And some of the Geshes, when they meet with some of the Geshes, the Geshe would be so amazed that in these topics, some of these topics, even we don't really, this much of analysis, we, find it very difficult. So, this is where we need to have the systematic studies. Okay, the next, number 2. Okay, no, we are not yet complete. So, we are talking about the 12 recitations. First set is done, second set. Second set, when the Buddha taught fundamental truths, Buddha taught, this is the truth of suffering is to be abandoned, the truth of suffering is to be identified. Truth of cause of suffering is to be abandoned. Okay, so once you identify the fundamental truths, then the students will ask Buddha, now what should you do with the fundamental truths? Buddha said, the first truth you have to identify so well. What's the problem going within you? You have to identify that. Your suffering, you should identify that. Your illness should be identified. Once you identify that, then check the cause and abandon the cause. So truth, the cause of suffering is to be abandoned. Okay, so with the second truth, my job is to abandon it. So what about the third? the truth of the cessation of suffering is to be actualized. What you want is you want the freedom from suffering. You have to remove all, you have to eradicate all these, the cause of suffering, and then you have to actualize your freedom. Actualize your freedom. Experience this freedom. The truth of the cessation of suffering is to be actualized. Okay. But how to actualize? Meditate on the path leading to cessation. Truth of the cessation of suffering is to be meditated. No, truth of the path leading to cessation of suffering is to be meditated upon. So this is related to the teaching of the Four Noble Truths pertaining to the practice. Number 3. What's number 3? Related to the results. Okay. Here the Buddha taught, although the truth of suffering is to be abandoned, although the truth of suffering is to be identified, there's nothing to be identified. Although the truth of cause of suffering is to be abandoned, there's nothing to be abandoned. Although the truth of the cessation of suffering is to be actualized, there's nothing to be actualized. Although the truth of the path leading to cessation of suffering is to be meditated upon, there's nothing to be meditated upon. Okay, this is the teaching of Four Noble Truths pertaining to the results that we accrue by the practice of Four Noble Truths. Okay, what do they mean? Particularly the third set. What did the Buddha mean when the Buddha taught that although truth of suffering is to be identified, there's nothing to be identified? Okay, for this, this set of teaching, a set of teachings should be understood on 2 levels, on the conventional level and on the ultimate level. First, on the conventional level. On the conventional level, when the Buddha taught, although the truth of suffering is to be abandoned, that the truth of suffering is to be identified, there's nothing to identify. Okay, so let's say that you follow the path, gade, para, samgade, bodhi, swaha. You follow the path, gade. So the first gade, say following the Bodhisattva path, let's say, whenever you generate bodhicitta, whenever you generate a spontaneous, very natural bodhicitta, you plunge into the first path, first gade. If you don't generate bodhicitta, no matter what you do, you are not in the path. So therefore, if you really want to follow the path, to say that, to qualify as you are at least in the first path of accumulation, you have to generate bodhicitta, genuine bodhicitta for the Bodhisattva path. So, first is gade, path of accumulation, second gade, path of preparation, third paragate, path of seeing, parasangate, path of meditation, bodhi swaha, path of normal learning. So these 5 paths, the first four are known as the path of learning, the paths of learning. And the 5th one is known as path of normal learning. When you reach the 5th path, then you have already accomplished what you want to accomplish. So you don't have to learn any more now. For example, like you complete your, you complete your PhD, or postdoc. Now for you, so what you have to learn the way the school children they do, you don't do it anymore. Normal learning, because you've reached the ultimate. Okay, so first part is known as path of learning, and the third, fourth, fifth one is known as path of normal learning. So when the Buddha taught, although the truth of suffering is to be identified, there's nothing to be identified. In the context of the conventional understanding, said that although the truth of suffering is to be identified during the first 4 parts, learning stage, you have to keep identifying what the sufferings are. Deeper. When you reach the fifth part, there's nothing to identify. You've identified everything. You getting it? This is meaning. Okay, next, what's next? although the truth of the cause of suffering is to be abandoned, there's nothing to be abandoned. Anybody who likes to explain this for us now? From what you've learned from the first. Anyone raise hands? Anyone who likes to share with us? Raise hands. Okay, here.
Although the truth of cause of suffering is to be abandoned, there is nothing to be abandoned. Meaning, part of accumulation and preparation, seeing and meditative level. When you reach part of normal learning, there is nothing to be abandoned.
Okay, how many agree with Dr. Pizzola's hands? Very good. Although the cause of suffering is to be, although truth of the cause of suffering is to be abandoned, meaning that you have to abandon these when you are in the first 4 parts, learning paths. You have to put effort to abandon these. Once you reach the 5th, you have abandoned everything. So that there's nothing left for you to abandon. Although the truth of the cause of suffering is to be abandoned, there's nothing to be abandoned. First one is related to the 4 learning, the parts of the learning, and the second one is related to the path of normal learning. Good. Number 3, anyone? What's number 3? Related to the actualizing the truth of cessation of suffering. Will you tell me?
Although the truth of cessation is to be actualized, but there's nothing to be actualized. In the first sense, truth of cessation is to be actualized. It is in the context of path of accumulation, preparation, and path of meditation. But when there's nothing to be actualized in the context of path of normal learning.
Why there's nothing to be actualized at the path of normal learning? Because you have actualized everything. Good. Okay. Last one. The truth of the path leading to the cessation. Anyone presents?
The path of cessation needs to be meditated upon. Even though the path of truth of cessation should be meditated upon, there is nothing to be meditated upon. Because the path of no more learning, there is nothing to be meditated upon. Because
why not?
Because the one who does has realized.
You've meditated everything now, so now there's nothing left for you to meditate. Whereas what about the first part? First we said that although the truth of the path leading to cessation is to be meditated upon. So what is that part? How do you explain this?
That comes in first 4 parts.
Okay, so that is to be the path of the truth of the path leading to cessation is to be meditated upon during the first 4 parts, to the learning parts, and then there's nothing to be meditated upon when you reach the 5th one, because at that point you've already meditated upon whatever is to be meditated upon, you already done it. You succeeded, nothing left to be meditated upon. Very good. Okay. So this is very important. It's a little digression, but this is very important for us. So with this, having said this, let's turn to number 2. What is number 2? If the 4 noble truths do not exist, okay, then knowledge, abandonment, meditation, and actualization would not be feasible. Okay, knowledge of what? Of the 4 noble truths. Knowledge to identify what? To identify what? Truth of the suffering. The first one. Then the knowledge, the abandonment of what? Cause of suffering. Now look, you can easily relate this. So knowledge is not just, in the vague idea. Knowledge of the truth of suffering and abandonment of the cause of suffering and meditation of path leading to cessation of suffering and actualization of the cessation. You getting it? So here, it's not necessarily everything must be everything properly in order. So here there's little alter, it doesn't matter. So meditation means that the path leading to cessation and actualization is the cessation. You getting it? So these 4 things which the Buddha taught related to the practice of the Four Noble Truths would not be feasible. You cannot possibly this. Okay. If these things do not exist, if you don't identify the cause of suffering, if you don't abandon the cause, you know, if you don't identify the suffering, if you don't abandon the cause of suffering, if you don't actualize the cessation of suffering, if you don't meditate on the path of cessation, if these things do not exist, the four fruits as well will not arise. Without four fruits, there will be no abiders. Okay, there will be no abiders. Is there abiders in the fruits? Nor will they be the enterers. So there will be four fruits. What are the four fruits? Stream enterer, fruit of fruit. There are four fruits there. Fruit of stream enterer. Fruit of one's returner. Fruit of no more returner. Fruit of aratship. Let me repeat it. Four fruits. Fruit of stream enterer. Fruit of one's returner. Fruit of no more returner. Fruit of aratship. Number one, fruit of stream enterer. Second, fruit of one's returner. One's returner. Number three, fruit of no more returner. Number four, fruit of arahatship. Arahatship. Four fruits. Okay, let me quickly explain these four. Okay, let me quickly explain this four. These are very important concepts. Very important. And in a way, the beginners, you are very fortunate, and you are, with others who are very seniors. You learned all these things many years, and now you are, what they learn, you are getting within just one retreat, short retreat. You're very fortunate. Okay. Say, when you are to attain liberation, freedom from suffering, to stop all the tears of samsara, to stop all the miseries, to stop all the suffering, stopping all the suffering is known as nirvana. And the person is known as arhat. The state of freedom from all suffering is known as nirvana, and the person who attained this is known as arhat. A-R-H-A-T. Arhat. In Pali, arhat. In Pali, arhan. In Sanskrit, arhat. Okay. Now, to reach to that level, there is one fruit, arhatship. The fruit of arhatship. This is one ultimate goal, ultimate fruit that he is seeking. There's one fruit. So before that, there are three fruits. Right? There are three fruits. And we're going to explain each one of these fruits. Let's say that you want to go to Bay of Bengal. You know where Bay of Bengal is? Bay of Bengal. And the Ganga, River Ganga. The River Ganga starts from Gangotri. River Ganga starts from Gangotri. And if you don't know where Bay of Bengal is, and you want to go to Bay of Bengal, you don't know how to go. You want to go there. The best thing is, jump into the stream. Jump into the Ganga stream. Jump. You enter the stream. The first, jump into the stream. Stream enterer. Once you jump into the stream will take you to Haridwar. Right? The stream will take you to Haridwar. This one's return. Then from Haridwar it will take you to Varanasi. No more return. From the Varanasi it will throw you into Bengal. Arhat. This is the ultimate goal. You getting it? So, number one is stream enterer. Jump into the stream. Stream enterer. You enter the stream. Once you go there, then you reach the Haridwar, which is like one's return. From there you will get the Varanasi. No more return. From there you will invariably get into the Bengal, Arhatship. What they actually mean is, when you see emptiness, say entering the stream is to see emptiness directly. So you first remove the mental defilements. The first remove the mental defilements, you start to remove the defilements from the root. That is when you see emptiness directly. The moment you see emptiness directly, it is like plunging into the river. That is the stream enterer. What is next?
Once
One's returner. One's returner means, okay, now you are in the desire realm. Samsara is divided into 3 groups. Desire realm, form realm, and formless realm. 3 realms are there. Those who are new, you must learn this. You must learn this. Desire realm, form and formless realm. So those beings who are more infatuated, with sensual desires, they're born in desire realm. And those beings who are more, not really outside sensual objects, but more into the inside meditation, they will be born in form and formless realms. So they are more into meditation state. Form and formless realm. Form realm and formless realm. Desire realm is marked by your mind, instead of being diverted inside, is diverted outside. But don't think about all the bodhisattvas who take birth in the desire realm. So it's not for all. For the common people, it is like this. When you are born in desire realm, which means your mind is more is driven towards external sensual objects. For the form and formless, sensual objects so gross. Then you go on to samadhi, eternal. So within eternal, there are 2 levels, form realm and formless realm. So these are the 3 places where somebody takes birth in samsara. These are only 3 places. So from this, when you go into the meditation, wisdom of emptiness, then what is number 2? One's returner, which means that you are in the desire realm at the moment, you meditate, and then before you attain nirvana, you have to come back to desire realm once more. You have to come back to desire realm once more, and then you attain nirvana. Okay, come back to desire realm once more. Then from there, either you attain nirvana in desire realm, or you take birth in form and formless and attain nirvana there. But how many times you have come back to nirvana, to desire realm before nirvana? Only once. So this is known as one's returner. And some of them, their meditation is more refined, and their meditation is so refined that they don't have to come back to desire realm anymore. You are already in desire realm. When you die, before you attain nirvana, you don't have to come back to desire realm. You can take birth formless realm, and then attain nirvana there. So once you die, you will not come back to desire realm. This is known as no more returner. You will not return to desire, no more returner. What is next? Arhatship. Arhatship meaning somebody who has destroyed your enemy. What is the enemy? Afflictive obscurations. Somebody who has destroyed the enemy. Arhat in Tibetan is Dachum. Da is the enemy. Chum is conquer. Conquer the enemy. Enemy of the afflictions. You destroy the afflictive obscurations, and this is where you get the total freedom. Okay, these are 4 fruits. We'll stop here.